Good stewards know holiness begins with simple, Christ-like hospitality. The gospel passage that Deacon Jim just finished reading is the one very familiar with us, the road to Emmaus. And I could begin my homily, as I sometimes do, by asking for a show of hands, asking how many of you, I know quite a few of you have been to the Holy Land, how many of you have been to the ruins of Emmaus? But I know the answer, so I won't ask the question. None of you. We don't know where Emmaus was. Archaeologists have been searching for it for centuries, but they have never found Emmaus. But that's okay, because the message today is not about where, it's about how. How to live our lives. Emmaus is a metaphor for the journey of each of our lives. Two disciples are on the road to Emmaus. They bump into this guy. They start chatting. The day gets toward the end, and they're hospitable to him. They're kind. They say, look, day's almost over. Why don't you just stay with us? And he does. And only after they have been hospitable to him, only after they have shown that little act of kindness, does Jesus reveal himself to them. It's a big message. Holiness begins with kindness, hospitality. As I frequently do, I have 3 short stories, all modern parables, all based on true stories. The first takes place in the 4th century. Martin was a soldier. He was on a road, riding his horse, and up ahead he saw a poor man. How did he know he was poor? Because he was naked. He didn't have any clothes. Martin fell for the man, got off his horse, took his cloak, his sword, cut it in half, and gave half his cloak to the poor man. That evening, after he went to sleep, Martin, in a dream, once again saw that poor man walking toward him. But this time, the poor man was clothed. He was clothed in half of Martin's cloak. But this time, the poor man stopped and said, "Martin, do you know who I am?" And Martin said, "No, I do not." And the man said, "I am Christ. I am Jesus Christ. You met me on the road today. You didn't recognize me. But trust me, I am in everyone, especially the poor, and you showed me hospitality." Martin was so moved by the event that he became a priest and later became Bishop of Tours and is now known as Martin of Tours. Be hospitable. Christ is in everyone we meet, including the poor, including those we cannot stand. Modern parable number 2, also based on a true story. Montana Smith was an archaeologist, a scientist, and he prided himself on putting everything through the scientific method. So he was at best an agnostic, probably closer to an atheist. He spent all of his time out in the field, so much that he had destroyed his family. So one Christmas Eve, he had an automobile accident, bad accident. When he went to the hospital, the doctors told him he probably wouldn't pull through his kidneys were badly damaged. And Martin was alone. Hospital tried to get in touch with family, but no one came. Shortly after midnight, when Christmas had just begun, Montana woke up, and there was an elderly priest in his room. Now, Montana, if he had acted normally, would have said, "Who the hell are you? And I don't want to see any priest." But he didn't. He said, "Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas." The priest grabbed his hand and began praying. And Montana said he felt a surge of electricity flowing through his body. He said it was intense, not uncomfortable, but intense. And it wore him out. He fell asleep. Woke up several hours later and asked the nurse who the priest was who had come to see him in the middle of the night. And the nurse said, "Mr. Smith, there were no visitors here last night." Montana was puzzled. Several hours later, his doctor came in and he said, "Mr. Smith, I can't explain it. It's a miracle, but your kidneys are functioning perfectly." And Montana had an epiphany. He realized that that elderly priest was a visit on Christmas morning by Jesus. Sometimes Jesus visits us. Often he visits us because he's always in distressing disguise. He's always looking like someone else. So our response should always be simple acts of kindness, hospitality. Final little story of the morning, also a modern parable based on a true story. Harry was an usher at the 10 o'clock Mass at his church. Every Sunday morning, he had an experience. He had lots of experiences. He took seriously his job in greeting people. And as a result of that, one day he received a letter, and the letter read, "Dear Harry, it's Gert. You know, 10 o'clock Mass, Gert. You always say hello. You're always so nice to me. We talk about the weather. You say nice things about my dress. Well, Harry, I'm dying. My husband died 16 years ago. My children are scattered all over the place, and I have no idea whether they'll come to my funeral. So I'm asking you, please come to my funeral. Come up to my casket. Look inside and say, 'Hi, Gert, it's Harry. That's sure a beautiful dress you have on today.'" Gert continued in her letter, "You know, Harry, that would be a holy thing to do. That would be you showing Christ to me as I leave this world." Gert understood. Do we? We meet thousands and thousands and thousands of people in our lives. Every one of them has Jesus Christ inside of her or him. Our job is to respond to them. Doesn't have to be anything magnificent. It can be a simple act of kindness. What Harry the usher did for Gert. My sisters and brothers, we are all called to be good stewards. And good stewards know holiness begins with simple, Christ-like hospitality.